So, yeah, Rosie O'Donnell is in big trouble. They put the statute up of it could be up to a 12-year, wait a minute, I forget if it's a 12-year sentence. It's a big, big deal when you bribe the government. When you bribe it on Twitter, oh my God. It's very, very scary. I I really don't know what she was thinking or how her day's been going, but with what we know and what she's done in the past, it's almost like it's inevitable that she's actually going to get a jail sentence out of this. It's not even a thing she can deny. The only thing that happens when you plead not guilty is that buys you time until there's a trial. But it's really hard to plead not guilty when those are your words on your Twitter account. So she can actually just get arrested and held. And I really don't know how it's going to play out, but I don't think she's going to escape the arm of the law in this scenario. She pushed it too far. And my advice for everyone else is to learn from this and never put the wrong things out on social media. When you do something like this, and it can be screaming at somebody, it can be her, which was a felony, it can be threatening somebody, it can be stating something way too powerful. There is no room for that, and it does not fall under free speech, everybody. It crosses over to criminal, and you need to be careful with your emotions. Your keyboard is not a toy. Thank you.
WikiLeaks has published an email in which Hillary Clinton's campaign chief thanks a top Facebook manager for, quote, help and support. The email exchange dates back to the U.S. presidential election in 2016. Now we can cross now live to RT's Polly Boyka. Polly, tell us more what was significant in those emails.
Well, it's really interesting because WikiLeaks' tweet has really put things into perspective, because on the one hand, you've got the Senate Intelligence Committee investigating the alleged Russian hacking in the run-up to the U.S. elections, and despite all the digging that they're doing, they're yet to find that clear trail that they're so desperate to find, leading all the way back to the Kremlin. And then if you take a look at what Julian Assange has just unearthed now, it's one of the leaked Podesta emails, but it shows that there is clear evidence that Facebook expressed an overt bias towards Hillary Clinton in the run-up to the U.S. election. Just look at the email. I think you've probably got it up on your screens right now. It's an email from Clinton's former campaign manager, John Podesta, to Sheryl Sandberg, the COO, the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook. And it says, look forward to working with you to elect the first woman president of the U.S. And Sandberg's reply is that she's thrilled by the progress that Clinton has been making. I mean, naturally, I think this begs the question, is the U.S. Senate as interested in Hillary's campaign manager working with Facebook to elect Hillary as they are in the alleged Russian meddling in these elections as well? And by the way, that's by no means it. The WikiLeaks tweet also highlights a personal email written back in 2015 by the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. It's to John Podesta, that's Clinton's campaign manager. It says that Zuckerberg enjoyed spending time with Podesta and that his conversation with him gave Zuckerberg a lot to think about. Infer from that what you will, but I think a pretty straight-up reading will lead many to assume that Podesta was there trying to lobby the CEO of Facebook. And in fact, it's safe to assume that pretty much the whole of the Silicon Valley was on Hillary's side in the run-up to the US election. If you remember, Google was accused of sort of calibrating its search results in order to, well, with preference for stuff about Hillary to come out first. And subsequent leaks have revealed that Eric Schmidt had very close ties to Hillary's campaign team. Of course, Eric Schmidt, he's the executive chairman of Alphabet, which is Google's parent company. Now, take a look at a leaked memo from Hillary Clinton's digital strategist during the election campaign. It relates to Eric Schmidt. Take a look at what it said.
I have been kept apprised of the work being done by Eric Schmidt's group and others working directly and indirectly with your team. On the whole, I am comfortable with where we stand and confident in our roadmap to launch day and beyond.
What I find quite fascinating, perhaps naively, is that no one appears to care about any of this, that these large tech companies were all gunning for Hillary, and that clear preference for Hillary appears to be a given. In case anyone is as concerned about this, well, we've got in touch with Facebook in order to find out if they're going to be reporting themselves to the US Senate for their alleged ties to the Hillary campaign.
It'll, of course, be interesting to see what Facebook's response is to that. RT's Polly Boyka reporting live from London. Thank you for the update.
So much. I finally found a group that's more difficult to work with than criminal defendants. And it's not Democrats. It's the print media. It's a really tough environment up there. Let me tell you a little bit about the Oversight Committee. Jason Chaffetz is a great friend of mine. I wish he were not leaving, but he is going back to Utah, so it created this rare vacancy in the middle of the term. Lots and lots of folks in Washington look in the mirror and see a chairperson every morning. I have never seen a chairperson when I shaved or brushed my teeth. I never aspired to do that. But we were in something of a pickle with Jason leaving. As good as Chuck Wright is, you'll never see him working a case in North Carolina. Why? Because he doesn't have jurisdiction. Right? God. And that's what I say whenever the media asks me, are you going to investigate X, Y, and Z? I say, look at the jurisdiction of the Oversight Committee. Here's the challenge. When I read off some of the things that the Oversight Committee is responsible for, your challenge this morning is to not fall asleep. It's important, but it's boring stuff. The census is really important. It's coming up. Whether we know it, whether we want it to or not, 2020 is coming up. That's within the jurisdiction of the Oversight Committee. Paperwork Reduction Act. How many of you are familiar with that? Professor Jeffrey is familiar with it. That's it. Procurement. How our government buys things. Really important if you're interested in waste, fraud, and abuse. Not the sexiest topic in the world. Privacy, accountability, efficiency. If you look at the jurisdiction of the Oversight Committee, that's what it is. There's one clause, 3 pages over, that says, oh, and by the way, the Oversight Committee may investigate any matter at any time. That's 3 pages after they tell us what we really want you to do. The word shall, if you're a lawyer, the word shall means something. It's compulsory. It means you got to do it. The word may is permissive. So what I'm going to do is the things that I have been assigned to do. I'm going to do the chores that were set out. And as non-sexy and uninteresting as the print media finds that to be, that's what we're going to do. Every question we have got since the steering committee vote has been about a country or a person. And it's all about one person. First name Donald. It's all about Russia and it's all about President Trump. Every question we have got. There are, I got my old math teacher here, so I'm going to flash my math skills. Count for me. Senate Intelligence Committee, Senate Judiciary Committee, House Intelligence Committee, House Judiciary Committee, and a special counsel. That's 5 different entities that are looking at whatever you want to look at from 2016 and whatever you want to look at with respect to the former FBI director. That's 5 different groups looking at it. 4 of them are congressional. 1 is an executive branch entity. I don't know why you need a 6th. So everyone's been very kind this morning, congratulating me and or offering condolences on the Oversight Committee. You are going to be bored by the hearings that we have once I get control of the guy. I've I've been on television enough to last a lifetime. I don't need to be on television anymore. I need to do those things that I have been asked to do, as non-sexy and non-TV friendly as they may be. The census is really important. That's how you decide, on the state level, that's how Eddie Callan gets assigned a district. That's how you determine whether or not northern states have lost population and therefore lose members of the House. The census is what drives that. Oversight is always appropriate and it's always in fashion. There's always going to be tension between the executive branch and the judicial branch and the legislative branch. It's always in fashion. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to reform the institutions of government. All the things that Republicans have been saying that we wanted to do about waste, fraud, and abuse and efficiency and reducing the size and scope of government, this is your once and perhaps a generation opportunity to do it. And most of that legislation starts in the Oversight Committee. So I'm telling you, be prepared to be bored. Be prepared to fall asleep if you watch any of our hearings on C-SPAN. But be prepared to do those things that we have been waiting, in some of your cases, for decades to do. There are 5 groups that are looking at Russia and Comey and everything else connected there too. And I happen to be on 2 of those committees. I don't need a third. So be prepared for us to do important stuff, but don't be surprised if you need to re-up your Ambien prescription too. So with that, thank you for the privilege of representing this district, and I look forward to doing what I've really been hired to do this morning, which is escort some beautiful people.
Mr. Linick, what was your finding here?
Well, we were not involved in any of the classification determinations. I mean, our role in this was to look at the FOIA process. We were asked jointly to look at the FOIA process, whether improvements could be made, and we made a number of recommendations to the department to make sure that classified information wasn't inadvertently released in the context of doing the review for FOIA. That was our role in this.
Hillary Clinton had this convenient email arrangement with herself. Have you ever seen anything like that? Were there people that expressed concerns about that? And what happened when these people expressed concerns?
Well, as we reported in our evaluation report, we did interview a couple of individuals who were in the Office of the Secretary, the Computer Division, SCSIRM, who said that they approached the then director of that particular office and expressed concerns both about the server and about whether or not her emails were being properly preserved under the Federal Records Act. And that individual, the director of SCSIRM, informed those individuals that it had been approved by legal and not to mention it again.
What does that mean, not mention it again? How did you read that?
You know, I can only report what the witnesses told us. We were not able to interview the individual.
Why not?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Why not? Why didn't you interview them?
Oh, well, we asked to interview him, but he declined to interview with us. So we were not able to get the benefit of his perspective on it. So I'm really unable to interpret what that means other than just present the facts.
And were you able to interview Hillary Clinton?
We were not.
Why not?
We asked to interview Secretary Clinton. We interviewed all the secretaries. We looked at 5 secretaries of state, going back to Madeleine Albright, and through counsel, she declined to meet with us.
Did she indicate a reason why she would refuse to meet with the Inspector General?
Her counsel informed our staff that that all of the information about the email was on the FAQ sheet published by her campaign.
So they directed you to the campaign?
To the FAQ sheet.
At the campaign?
On the website, yes.
The campaign website?
I'll have to check that. I'm not sure exactly what website it was.
Okay, well, it's an important point, so please check that.
Okay.
I've gone over my time.